start recording. It's gonna record this week. It didn't last week. I had to pull it from Twitch. I don't know. I had like the very beginning of the show, and then I had the very end of the show as two separate files. There was just nothing in the middle. Well, this is only the first part. It's gonna get cooler. Yeah, there's more. Well, yeah, it's a sweet, touching moment. But get ready, because we're going to do some transitioning. Are you ready? Okay. And then it's going to get all fancy. I need to see a tweet? Oh. Yeah, I was going to say that doesn't do a lot for me. Aww. No, you're not, Ben. You're not allowed. You'll note Jules didn't say I'll take both of you for a whole day. She said her. You were not invited, Ben. Alright, well, maybe I started streaming too early. It's possible. No reason. Oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, they did. Hold on. Thank goodness somebody finally said it. Hold on. Gosh dang it. I know, I'm fixing it. Hold on. Everybody getting all antsy about stuff. I get that, sir. And what's worse is now they only hear me arguing with myself.
I like that.
There we go. Now they should be able to hear everybody. Once you hear Ben saying, I like that, let me know. It should be in a minute.
You guys missed it. We did like the whole thing about Nevermore and I doing chest bumps and Ben watching it.
Oh, see, I thought that you were totally gonna, we were on the same page where we were just gonna like mouth words and pretend we're talking.
No.
Yeah.
That's a guy thing. That's silly.
Okay.
You're silly.
All right, good. They hear it. I'm on a new setup, everybody. Bear with me. Is there anything else that's broken at the moment?
There's
just us.
Shut up. All right. I'm gonna do the cool transition thing.
Okay.
We're gonna go. It's gonna go. Whoosh.
Arlena said that she can't see us.
Yeah, I know. No, there's no cams tonight. I don't have my camera, and I'm not setting it up, and I'm not doing anything. Yeah.
Oh no, mosquito.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, we got some fancy stuff. Some new technologies.
Are you still using OBS?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh my gosh, that is the old school WoW cinematic. That's awesome.
You just have like all of them playing in sequence?
Yeah, they're slightly edited down, but
Okay, cool.
yeah, they're all gonna cycle through and loop and stuff.
Yes, Mammoth, the stream started.
Obviously, he can't hear you.
Yelling, man.
Oh, this is such. Look at this old school. My goodness.
You know,
I remember seeing this for the
there are
first time.
times that I go through and I'm just like, I need to watch them all again.
I know. I've done that. I've sat down and watched them all.
Yeah. At this point, it takes like a half hour because there's so many of them.
I know. It takes a while. And then
The
you
Wrathgate
gotta
one is my favorite.
edit
I
them
love
and
the
stuff.
Wrathgate one.
I love the Wrath one.
Oh, I love it, love it, love it.
Although I love the Pandaria one too. Except I still think that the human and the orcs chests are like way too big. Like they have like tiny head syndrome. But that's
Yeah, well, they're barrel chested. All of them are.
They're also kind of dumb. Like, they're not the cream of the human or orc crop.
true.
That is so cool, John.
So, yeah.
There's the I like it.
Bear fighting. Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought this
fighting.
I thought this might be an okay substitute for having video.
For not seeing our faces.
And I was hoping Ben would be okay with it, and I was going to be real sad if he wasn't, because
that's fine.
it took a real long time to make.
Oh, the Draenei. I'm going to be totally distracted, so I can't watch the stream.
Just watch the video.
Just watch the video and be like, wait, what? What are you talking about?
Pull out the chat.
Draenei.
It is true. It was really cool getting to watch these again. I like all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of regardless of how I feel about the expansions they may or may not be attached to. I
Well,
still
let
think
me
they're
ask
all
this.
really good.
Hey John, how cool is that Kata one?
The Kata one is pretty cool. Deathwing yells at a statue and it falls over.
Ah!
Yep.
Too bad Tyrion's not standing underneath it.
And
Oh yeah, the Siege of Orgrimmar cinematic. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
all right, we should do a show. Hopefully Ben has something he wants to talk about, because I got nothing.
I have something to at least bring us into something if we need.
Cool.
I mean,
You know us. We can talk about stuff.
Worst comes to worst, we can always have a Murloc mind meeting. So.
All right. Yeah. Oh, that's right.
That is old school. That is
Murloc
old school.
mind
Murloc
meeting.
mind meeting torrent think tank. I love
Jules,
it.
you need to look at the camera so the camera so we can start the show.
Are you crawling underneath?
No, she was poking up to see you and then burst into laughter. So I'm trying to get her to see you now so that it's not during the middle of the show.
She's crawling behind your camera. Oh, I love you, Sarah.
And she'll hear you in a couple seconds. Oh, apparently she's not listening yet.
No, she's not listening yet.
Well, I
we
mean-
have an inside joke about me being on Azeroth Roundtable.
Oh,
I'll tell you guys after.
I think I know it.
I think you probably do.
She might have mentioned it. Add a new bot to your I can add bots to my
Makes me
content
laugh.
list.
Did you say butt? Add a new butt?
No, bot. I can add bots to my contact list. I don't get why I would add a bot though.
Because you want to talk to a bot. What's up, bot? Hello.
Hey, chatbot.
Yes.
What's
How
up,
are
chatbot?
Hmm. Okay,
I am well.
Joss.
Oh, shit.
Oh,
I'll
we're
see myself
interchangeable
out.
now?
I
Is this
see
how it's going
myself
to go?
No, you are not interchangeable. I'm an ass.
Boom. Ben ruins it again. Every guest, he messes it up.
Damn it.
I love you guys.
Champion of the round table.
Not even listening and I caught that.
I'll see myself out. I don't need to be here. I'm sorry, Jules.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really bad.
Okay.
See how his intro goes.
John, those aren't your dogs. Who am I hearing? Oh,
No.
some dogs outside.
It's not
No,
picking
my
up on your
dogs are
mic.
sleeping. My dogs are being okay for once.
Okay. Jules, I'm sorry.
Sorry. Hey, if I'm going to be confused with Jocelyn, there are a whole lot worse people I could be confused with.
At least I didn't call you John.
No,
Well,
because
that-
if you had said John, I would have been like, what? And you would have said, oh, I mean, I meant to talk to Jules. And it would have been no big deal.
Yeah.
Instead, you brought up somebody who's not even on the show right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to get you to the point where you've hosted as many times as her, so that's whatever. My food tastes good.
Look at
I'm
him
just not
try
gonna
to backtrack.
Yeah. Jules,
try to
are you
recover.
ready to start the show? We lost her.
I don't blame her.
Oh no.
I'd quit the show too.
Oh no.
I'd quit the show too if all of a sudden it was like, nope, I'm gonna just, call me whatever name you want, Ben.
Oh my gosh. Are you back?
I don't blame her for leaving.
Looks like she's back. Oh my god.
Seems you think all our guests are
Oh, shut up.
interchangeable, apparently.
They are not interchangeable.
That's not what I'm hearing.
Thank you, OMF. Jules Celine. They form like Voltron. Oh no, they do the fusion dance. There we go.
Well,
So, how's it going?
good. We have alienated all our guests. Well, I say we, but really I'm just being kind. It was you.
Where'd my camera go?
I don't know. Where did your camera go?
I don't know. Jules, are you there? No. I'm just going to end the whole call and start over.
Okay.
So I'll call you right back.
Hi, everybody. John here. Ben's probably going to miss all this. What a jerk, right? Hi, Ben.
Hey, John.
Hi.
Now we're going to try Jules.
Okay. Now, you are calling Jules, right?
Yes, I am.
Good. Oh, now I'm getting another call.
Oh, what?
Alright, I'm gonna hang up on that call. Screw it. I'm done. I'm done with the whole thing. I'm done with the whole thing. This is a nightmare. I quit.
Okay, I got
What?
you.
What the hell do you want?
What's going on?
What?
Why did it put this call?
Hello?
Okay.
John?
Everybody hang up. Everybody hang up. Everyone hang up. Ben doesn't know how to use Skype. He also doesn't know how to call people by the right name. So, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call Ben. Nope, he's gonna hang up on me. It's fine. Okay, now he wants me to call him.
I don't know. I was on a call and then another call called.
I know, I was there.
I don't know what's going on.
I saw
I have no idea what's happening. Hello?
that we just needed somebody who knows how to use Skype to do the call.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
us?
Yes, because it kept coming back, and I could hear you, and I'm going, hello? Hello? It's just not picking you up.
And then I finally hung up, and then I called John, and then called you, and then the call that we were on was calling me back.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I don't know. I shouldn't have upgraded to Skype today. Or upgraded Skype. That's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell was going on there, but it was like all of a sudden, so.
All right.
You
well,
dumb Skype.
Good
Well,
news, everybody.
we're back. Let's just do this.
We're doing it.
Because now we get to do the intro.
We're up to Pandaria, cinematically speaking.
Woohoo! All right.
Perfect. So, Jules, whenever you're ready, go ahead and start us off.
All right. Here we go in 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is Jules Scott from Torrent Think Tank and A Case of the Mondays, and you're listening to Azeroth Roundtable.
I knew you were going to do Case of the Mondays, but I thought you were going to say a Case of the Monkeys. And I'm like, why didn't you call a barrel of monkeys?
No, it's a case of the Mondays.
Yeah.
It's like somebody's got a case of the Mondays.
I love that movie and hate that phrase so much.
I know, I love that movie too.
Welcome to Azeroth Roundtable, episode 165. My name is Ben Bumhofer. We've just had a smashing start already, pre-show, so woohoo. With me, as always, is John Jagger. How's it going, John?
Good, Ben. I've got a new job title. I'm now producer for the Azeroth Roundtable. I worked hard to get this job, but I think the ship is sailing a little bit smoother these days, and I'm excited to keep going on with my new role. It's real exciting, real good times, and I thank you for this opportunity, Ben.
You're welcome.
I'd like to thank the Academy.
And with us this week is Jules. Hey, Jules, thanks for coming on the show, and you're awesome.
Well, no, you're awesome because you asked me to come back, and I am excited to be here.
Well, good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. So, okay, here's the fun thing about our show. We do no show prep. Like, none. To the point where when guests say, hey, what's the topic? I say, well, we'll see what happens. Because that's kind of how things go.
Yeah.
Lately it's worked out pretty well for us because we've been able to totally fill in this gap of, no news that's been coming in and everything like that. And today is no exception. We had absolutely nothing to talk about when we logged in to Skype to talk and everything like that. But I have something I want to ask you guys, and maybe we can play around with this for a bit.
Cool. What is it?
Okay. John.
Yes, Ben.
What if I were to tell you that if you logged into Warcraft next week, you would get some pretty awesome transmog items just for logging in that also appear in the Warcraft movie?
I would be super excited about transmog items, because I like transmog items.
Cool. That's a good thing. Jules, what if I were to tell you that if you logged in sometime next week, you get really cool transmog items that just kind of coincide with the movie release coming up?
Neato? I'm super lame. I'm not a transmogger. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, transmogger.
But Jules, that's how you put your unique digital signature on your limited custom avatar.
I know.
Limited custom avatar.
Well, okay, now that they're going to be releasing the whole kind of Diablo-esque transmog UI and all that stuff, I think it might actually help me because I am the worst at trying to put together an outfit. It's like being a teenager and not knowing how to dress like the fashion magazines. Because I'm just like, I don't know where to find it. I'm too lazy to go look. So I will look like, so that's why it's like half the time when you go raiding and you get your tier gear and you're like, fine, I finally match.
You know how occasionally like a reference will pop into your head, and I guess in this case it just made me realize how dated my references are, because you said that and the joke I was going to make was going to be, I wonder what Jonathan Taylor Thomas's avatar is wearing. And then I was like, nobody's going to get that. That's a really old reference. Do people even know who Jonathan Taylor Thomas is anymore?
Well,
Get it?
The big surprise I have is that your mind immediately went to Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you're a huge JTT fan.
Oh, Home Improvement was awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Had a neighbor, you couldn't see half his face. It's comedy gold.
Yeah, exactly.
Look at them. They're all like JTT, like they're in the know. Look at them. That's awesome.
How many, like, of that era heartthrobs do you think we can name between the three of us?
Kirk Cameron.
Of that era?
Yeah.
Oh, tons. I had them on my wall.
Uh-oh.
Go
Okay,
for it.
Go, Jules.
So in that area, which have been the early 90s,
Yeah.
actually this would be past the time when I would have had stuff on my wall. Because my wall was Luke Perry, Patrick Swayze.
Uh-oh.
That's who was on my wall. So we're like, a little bit past that. So that would be Kirk Cameron. Let's see, who else would be up there?
Was Leonardo DiCaprio there yet, or
He's probably a little too young yet.
Okay.
That would be New Kids on the Block for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Let's see who else. John Stamos. John Stamos would be up
He's
there.
still on my wall.
Yeah, that's true. I watched Fuller House. I put him right back up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Fuller House. I know that man does not age. Let's see.
Say.
So, who else? Rick Schroeder was past that point because it was the 80s. So that's my
Jason
list.
Bateman.
Jason Bateman, yes. Michael J. Fox.
Who
Michael
was
J.
the
Fox.
albino-looking kid that was super popular for a long time?
The albino-looking kid? Who?
I don't know. There was some albino kid that everybody was into.
What? I have no idea what you're talking about.
He looks like an albino. I think his name was Devin.
Devin Sawa.
Yes!
Oh,
That's who it was.
The kid who was human Casper in Casper?
Oh, that's right. He was human Casper.
Look, the only reason I know that is because my best friend in junior high looked a lot like him.
Like
to
an
the point
albino?
where, yeah, I guess. To the point where like someone was actually convinced that he was Devin Sawa.
That was a
I
stupid
don't even.
last name.
I don't even know who Devin Sawa is. I feel really bad.
You're fine.
Albino-looking guy.
He was. All I know is that he was human Casper in Casper.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay, well, glad we got this WoW-related topic taken care of. Good job, everybody.
Your topic just went wah wah.
Does that whenever I, try to get John to participate, but this time
I'm
it was
sorry,
you.
I got distracted.
No, seriously though, going back to the whole idea of cross promotional with the movie and everything, like they're giving out free copies of the game, but I think that for the most part the core audience already has it, so who knows. But like, what other stuff would you think would actually fit or be a good match to actually put in game if you go and see the movie? Like, just top of my head, I thought maybe have a toy for the toy box that's like popcorn, so you can just sit there and eat popcorn for a little bit.
Oh, that's cute.
Thought that'd be fun. It'd be great for when people are fighting in trade chat or something. Just
Ooh, T-shirts, like a Horde and Alliance T-shirt, so
That'd
that
be
you could put that on your character and be like, I support the, and then you could have somebody who decides to be a night elf wearing a Horde shirt and be like, I'm so poser.
Well, if
totally-
you're looking for t-shirts, let me tell you, you could head to slashloot.com and pick up plenty. You could even pick up the official Azeroth Roundtable t-shirt from such a website, if you were so inclined. But I do get what you're saying, Jules. You're saying something cool to show your faction pride, but I don't know. For me, I think we're kind of already showing faction pride by being part of the Horde or Alliance. So to me, when I think about like, okay, what cool things do I want in there, I kind of like the difference between like movie and game, at least right now. And maybe it's because I'm being a bit of a curmudgeon about the movie. I'm trying to keep my expectations real low because they've yet to show me anything to make me actually excited for the movie beyond just like, hey, it's the Warcraft movie and I'm gonna go see it. Like that's about all they need.
You're telling me that a trailer with I don't know, I'm making up weird techno music now. That's not going to make you want to see this fantasy movie?
No, it has not. And so I'm going to see it because it's the Warcraft movie, because I like the director, and because those two things are enough for me to say, well, maybe I'll like it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, all that said, I don't have a lot of faith in it, so I'm kind of the mind, keep your movie out of my World of Warcraft.
But John, this could be Reese's. This could be peanut butter and chocolate again.
Also, while we're at it, the story of this movie is kind of the story of Warlord, so I've also kind of already experienced it and already got that t-shirt, and I'm ready for Legion.
This is a curmudgeon podcast. We know this.
Apparently. It is now, anyway.
Look, I like transmog items. Give me transmog items all day. But I don't know if I want to see people sitting down eating popcorn. That seems a little world-breaking at the moment. Am I the only one that thinks if you look down and you saw a bunch of people eating popcorn in-game that would be a little jarring?
Okay, as opposed to what, the ogre pinata and stuff that you can get with bubblegum?
Yeah.
That's already in-game.
It's already in-game. It's great. I've never seen popcorn in the game before.
Well,
So-
it's very Inception-y. I know. You're kind of like, the meta inside the meta of us watching ourselves because we are living in this world, but we're on the outside watching it.
Yeah.
But I guess if you could say you're an extension of your avatar, and so, us as people going to the movie to go see, to see the movie. And then so our avatars would then be like, oh, we can go see a movie. Maybe not the Warcraft movie, which would be a little too Inception-y.
You know what I would do? I would go to Pandaria and go where Lore Walker Cho is and turn on one of his story bits and then start eating popcorn. There you go. You're in the movie.
No,
Perfect.
I don't like it at all. Let me tell you how I would do it. It's the only way I'm going to get on board, because I don't like that idea, Ben's, at all. Here's what I'm going to do.
That's happened.
If you want me to be on board with... So, Jules, I think you nailed it. There is something world-breaking where... And this might be something to talk about, too. Like, how do you take a game that is occasionally as meta-breaking as having ETC rocking out in places... but still not have it jar you out of the fantasy? Like, what is that line, and how do you walk around that line? And so for me, if they wanted to do something very tongue-in-cheek with the movie that I feel like would be interesting, we've all just gone to Draenor, we've all just experienced the story or part of the story that they're going to tell. So if at the Dark Moon Fair they set up rows of little benches and put on a little stage play telling the story of what happened there, and
With
they
hand
wanted
puppets.
and they wanted to give popcorn to the crowd sitting there, I would be 100% on board with that. I would even go to the Dark Moon Fair Island to see it.
I think that's fair. I think it's fair. I think, it's fair, but the equivalent of giving us the transmog items are like us going out and buying inflatable action figures or something like that to be able to be like,
What kind of
"Rawr, I have a weapon."
you getting? If they inflate.
Oh, it's like getting a sword.
I know.
Inflatable sword.
They're giving us weapons, though, so that's cool. I'm good with that.
They are weapons, which is cool, but I
mean, it's okay. So it's funny that you mentioned that. Okay, so they're weapons. So okay, I can get, the weapon off of Ragnaros, Sulfurious.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, like being able to just transmog Gul'dan's staff is more like, "Woo, look at me, I'm Gul'dan," than actually going and killing Ragnaros. So it's like I kind of have a bit of a divide in that sense there.
But it's Gul'dan's movie staff.
Yeah. Again, it's just, "Ooh, I'm Gul'dan."
from the movie.
I don't know. Maybe because we haven't killed him yet? Maybe. I mean, does his staff actually drop?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know that answer.
Yeah.
Well, you probably won't know until this next expansion, where he would have a real good chance to drop his staff.
True. I do have to say, though, that a lot of people in the chat room were yelling at you, John, because the movie isn't Warlords of Draenor.
Okay, it's not Warlords
It's
of
Warcraft
Draenor, but it's
1.
got a lot of the same characters. Whatever. It's Warcraft 1, which was preceded by Warlords of Draenor's real history. Look, I don't want to get into it. It's the same characters, and I already experienced it. I'm done.
Yeah.
But I will watch a stage play of it.
Can it be done by little, like, kids, like little orcs and little Draenei and little Tauren and stuff?
Yes, that would be a fantastic Children's Day edition.
Like, no, what happens is now every Orphans Week, they have a stage play the Darkmoon Fair is open that week, no matter when it is, and then they have a stage play that the orphans put on.
That should be how they catch you up on lore all the time. Every hour on the hour, the orphans put on a new stage play to tell you the story
Of the previous expansion?
Of World of Warcraft so far.
That would be very tragic for those orphans because nobody would come see their play.
I would once.
Right! They'd be stuck in eternity having to put on this play.
In 20 minutes, Wrath of the Lich King is on.
Yeah, what if it's a real good play?
Ugh Ugh is such a great Lich King. Come on, we gotta go see it.
You get somebody to write some real cool songs, make them musicals.
Just capture like all the kids singing and stuff.
Just one kid in the middle of reenacting starts breaking down crying. What's wrong, Timmy? That's how my family died.
I just had a moment where I thought about like how the Grinch stole Christmas with all the Who's and Whoville singing around
and all the orphans in the orphanage.
Oh, terrible.
Okay. I think this is the best idea that's come out of the show ever, actually.
I mean, not since the Lazy River have we really knocked one out of the park like this.
Definitely.
Orphan plays. Get those kids to work.
All right, well, that's the title of the episode, Orphan Plays. It is kind of funny that you did bring up the whole, what breaks the fantasy for you and everything like that. And it's kind of odd because as you're going through leveling and questing and everything like that, you're really deep into lore, and then all of a sudden, like, you have this weird quest that is like a total reference to something else, or you have an entire zone like Oldham. It's those things that I think that Blizzard's actually done a really good job of balancing between, like serious, this is our story lore, and then we're just having fun.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it is a little jarring to go from, like Silverpine Forest and the epic story that I always talk about there. Mm-hmm. And then you go into Hillsbrad, and the very first quest you get is a quest where you're a quest giver, and they basically make fun of their own audience for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
They have a character named Dumas. It's not I'm going to assume that's how you pronounce it. It's not exactly spelled that way.
Yeah. Based on that one, like insurance commercial or something, right?
Yeah. It's pronounced Dumas. Like, okay. But yeah, so they're able to do that. But I mean, that moment didn't break the game for me. And you do that one quest, and it's silly, and it makes you laugh, and it kind of takes you out of the dire seriousness that ended the zone before. And then next thing you know, you're going off, and you're back to doing kind of serious things. And I think they walk that balance really well of here's something a little funny. Okay, now here's some serious lore business for you.
Yeah. Jules, I mean, you've been playing for a while and everything as well. Like, is there something that just screams to you, just like, oh my God, it finally broke the immersion when you're actually like just deep in?
Trying to remember, like that whole thing that John just talked about where you're all of a sudden the quest giver and it's so tongue in cheek, you're like dying laughing. Trying to remember, like, when was the first time that happened when I was playing, and I was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. For some reason, I think my first experience with one of the holiday events really did it. Like when you do the Halloween event, for instance, and you're fighting the Headless Horseman. So, I've played Alliance longer than I've played Horde. So you got to go out to Goldshire, and you've got to kill the fires that are being, blazing on all of the houses in Goldshire, and, do all the quests there. And it's just this weird thing. Like, why am I being haunted by some weird dude who's telling me it's Hollow? Like, it was just, that whole thing was definitely breaking that, immersion, because it was a special event. Yeah. And a weird one. Like, it didn't connect to the lore at all. So I'm trying to think about what else. That quest though, John, is one of my favorites. I laugh every time when I do that quest. It's one of my absolute favorites.
It is really good, and it's interesting the way that quest goes because it has moments that are almost eye-rollingly bad. I mean, they've got a lot of references to The Rock when he was a wrestler, and those are getting dated fast. Even The Rock can't really pull off being The Rock anymore. And as a result, you know, you see him and you're just like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? They're going off the rails. But then, spoilers for a quest that's been around for years now, he dies at the very end. And they have a very somber funeral and service for him. And it's this real touching moment all of a sudden, kind of out of the blue. And I'm not going to say that it, you know, is going to make you start bawling or anything like that, but it adds a level of weight that, like, hey, yeah, you're running around with a character named Dumas, Johnny Awesome, and a rock parody, but they can still carry some emotional weight because rock parody guy died. And I'm sorry, I can't remember what his name is. I think, is his name Loktar?
I
Like,
think so.
it's weird because that's like part of the orc chant, but I think that might actually be his name.
Maybe. I don't know. Well, I mean, do you think that maybe it was actually Blizzard just kind of taking a step back and making us look at the meta, like how they see it and everything? Because, I mean, the three characters that come by are, oh, you know, I'm just, you know, this stuff is actually completely trivial to me. I'm doing it for an achievement, or, you know, hey, I'm a new guy, and all that stuff. And it kind of, you know, it might open people's eyes to the fact that they have this gigantic range in their audience that they actually have to foster to. You know, that's why they can't just, you know, all of a sudden like, okay, well, or any of the expansion, 100% raids. That's all it is. Or, you know what, we're not going to work on PvP anymore because no one does that. You know, it's something that it breaks the meta to a point where you get a little bit of understanding, but then they give more gravitas to it, like John said, near the end. And, you know, maybe it can kind of help illustrate that, hey, these are potentially other people out there that I'm playing with, as well as, you know, adding more story to what you're doing.
It could be. Also, we got a correction from the chat. They said his name's Orcus. That's his name.
Totally close.
All I could think is, I think he comes in and says, "Do you smell what Loktar is cooking?" So I think I thought his name was Loktar.
That's true.
I can see that.
But yeah, it's interesting. But I also, kind of going off of that same thread, by all accounts, Legion is looking pretty serious in its storytelling. I don't know. I don't want to give any spoilers or anything like that, but I mean, even from the cinematic, which is ironic because we're looking at it right now, you get the sense that things are more serious, more dire, more is on the line. There seems to be, on a surface level, a story that is maybe a little less tongue-in-cheek than it has been in the past. Certainly when you compare it to Pandaria, which had its high stakes, but also had time to be pretty fun. And it kind of goes back to something that we've talked about, which is, I don't know if Blizzard is always necessarily holding the same balance from expansion to expansion.
Yeah. Well, you know, like every expansion for the last probably 4 has always had a poop quest, right? There's always been one.
If you're
and it
Alliance,
becomes a meme inside of a meme for Alliance.
That's very true. It is definitely an Alliance side thing, because we haven't seen one in the Horde since, I think, Wrath?
There might have been one in Warlords.
Yeah, I don't remember it, but yeah, I mean, you're right. But then again, if you think about it, in a fantasy setting, poop is something they have to deal with too.
Well, and you know, and there was an achievement in your garrison. I don't know if it was on the Horde side, but in the Alliance garrison, there was an outhouse you had to go into for the achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we did have that for sure.
Okay.
Well, they can't just make faction achievements. That'd just be being mean.
But
yeah, but they do it anyway.
Alisander in the chat points out a good point. Not really looking for a game full of depression. And kind of afraid that Legion could potentially be that. And I understand that sentiment. And it's funny because I want to say, what was it, a few months ago, we tweeted, hey, what kind of storytelling do you like best in WoW? Like, what kind of story do you envision it as? And we had some people very firm and diehard in their beliefs that WoW needed to go more the route of Game of Thrones. Serious and intrigue and, be dark fantasy. We had a lot of people say Lord of the Rings. I think that won. And I think we had a lot of people say, it needs to be even a little bit lighter than that.
Yeah. But, I mean, the big thing is that's just our audience. I mean, at least John and I are of the belief, definitely more Lord of the Rings. Yeah, consequences do happen, but, you still take time to surf on a shield down a flight of stairs every now and then. Jules, where do you fit into this, actually? I don't think that we've ever talked to you about, like, level of seriousness and just depth of, and impressiveness of the story.
Well, I absolutely, I love story, and that is probably one of the things that drives me with most games. I mean, Ben and I share a deep love for the Mass Effect series, where the lore and the story is as much as important as the action. Mm-hmm. And so for questing, I really enjoy having a good, story. One of my favorites is always leveling up a blood elf and going through the Ghostlands and getting that whole storyline that leads you into Sylvanas with the locket, all of that. Mm-hmm. And so I would like to see an expansion that had maybe some of that intrigue with Game of Thrones. And Game of Thrones does have some comic relief.
Oh, yeah.
It does.
The show needs it. Otherwise...
just a couple quirks here and there. And I think that's what WoW does well. But I'd like to see it go down that road for at least an expansion just to see how people would react.
Mm-hmm. Well, I haven't done a ton of storyline stuff in Legion, but there's a chance that it could happen. I mean, granted, and I'm not bringing this up so that we can do another 10 minutes on it, but we've essentially been Dragon Ball Z-ing since vanilla. We've had this threat and defeated it. Oh, there's a new threat and it's bigger and we defeated it. It's just been cascading to this point where, oh, well, we went to another world and defeated that threat. I mean, that's our Namek story. We've talked about that before. But going back, it's like, okay, now the Legion's back. They're bigger and badder than ever. And it's not just like they're bigger and badder than ever. It is actually, they're really a threat now. So there's a possibility that, well, let's see, to quote what Miyamoto from forever ago about Zelda, shields will break, blades will bleed, or something like that. That was a horrible quote. It didn't even work. But John, you know where I was going with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that is actually the quote.
Swords bleed. Okay.
Swords bleed.
I don't know. Actually. But I mean, I think, look, for whatever it's going to be, whether it's dark or not, I feel like Legion is kind of an end game of sorts. I mean, we don't know how it's going to end, so it could end with a great big to be continued for all we know at this point.
I hope it doesn't do that again.
But the Legion is kind of the ultimate bad guys as it currently stands within the lore they've given us. That doesn't mean that there can't be other bad guys, other threats, but you are now hitting that point where you're saying, this is the worst of the worst. These are the toughest people out there. And not only that, they're going to be extremely successful in their initial incursion into Azeroth. So there is a really interesting question of, how do we move from here? Can we top it? Mm-hmm. Or do we then have to go quieter again? Which, again, I don't have a problem with. When I was kind of putting together the video that we're doing for the video version of this today, just watching the Pandaria cinematic again and hearing that music and seeing that world reminded me just how much I really liked a quiet, kind of disconnected story, and that I was totally okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Ro actually says this is the Marvel equivalent of fighting Thanos.
Yeah, yeah. We're kind of hitting that because everybody's coming together to take care of this. But what seems to be, which tends to run with the WoW lore, is everybody comes together to fight the common bad, and then there will be some kind of strife that will split the Horde and Alliance apart into war again. That's kind of how it trends, right? We come together as two factions to say we are fighting, we have a worse enemy than ourselves. And then we fight and defeat that enemy. And then it's like, well, what are we going to do with each other now? We really don't like each other. So let's figure out something to be mad about.
Yeah. What if we just fought? How about that?
All right. You ate my tacos. Like, come on.
That would be bad. That'd be pretty bad if someone ate your tacos.
Right?
Now, what we need is a Romeo and Juliet expansion. Now, I'm not saying exact Romeo and Juliet. I'm saying, and I'm not saying Romulus and Jomulus, the play that's in.
Yeah, I was going to say we have literally had those characters in this game.
No, something along the lines of, a story where a Horde and an Alliance, maybe high faction people or something like that, kind of get together and do some sort of thing. And then, of course, we fight over it and all that stuff. There's misunderstandings and they end up dying. And then it finally, might actually unite the factions at the end to the point where we don't have the same two faction thing. Like, look, I get faction pride. I get that there's always going to be this, group that hates this group and vice versa and everything like that. But seriously, I really think that it's time in World of Warcraft to not make that a focus of an expansion, or at least, a big thing behind it, because it's limiting them storyline wise in, massive ways. They have to put this in. I mean, one of the big things that when I first started, just a little bit of questing in the beta, and by saying first start, I mean, I got my artifact and it's the first quest. It's all, the Alliance is doing this. You have to stop them. I'm like, there's demons falling from the sky right now, and you want me to go kill that human over there? That human's fighting the demons too. Let's get this taken care of.
Yeah.
That's actually, you actually just nailed it without, I think, even intending to. If you want to know the moment for me, you can make me a quest giver. You can put in characters like Johnny Awesome. You can have somebody scream I'm sailing and then jump off of a ship for no good reason. All this stuff, and I will stick with your lore, and that's all fine. But the moment that WoW's lore breaks for me is the moment that my character just sort of mindlessly starts going along with plans that my character wouldn't go along with. That's where the lore breaks down for me, and that happens a lot, where it's like, hey, I know the world's about to come to an end, but could you go steal these Alliance guys' supplies? Because that'd be fun. And it's like, no, that doesn't make any sense right now. No. I would never do this. I would not do this. But hey, if you want to play World of Warcraft, you better go do that.
Yeah. Do you think
it's just with an MMO though, you've got to have a mixture of that, or they're never going to level you up.
But do you? I mean, can't you say, hey, we're going to do quest chains that are going to encourage more PvP focus and more Alliance versus Horde conflict? Or just say, hey, you know what? We need to realize that our characters have always kind of been faction neutral. I actually thought Pandaria did a pretty decent job of this, where you start by helping your faction because of course you would. It's a survival situation. Now, there are a few quests in there. I'm not going to say that it's a perfect representation where clearly there are other things going on and you go and then mess with some Alliance people, or probably vice versa. But for the most part, you're only doing things that make a lot of sense for your own survival. And then you kind of watch as a third party as the Alliance and the Horde go to battle with each other. Mm-hmm. You're kind of separate from the whole conflict. And that felt really good for me. Because it was like, oh, okay, I'm kind of mad at my own factions. They're kind of doing their own thing. and I don't really like it, but at least I'm not being forced to be a part of it.
Yeah. In the chat room, Brewmaster Wanzu said, I thought that's why they're putting the emphasis on class orders. And Chief Vol'jin says, hey guys, we're invading Draenor together to stop the Iron Horde. Okay, let's split up and start fighting each other because the Iron Horde's not important.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that could be, actually, that is one part of class order halls I'm really excited about, is the classes saying, like, all right, the Horde and the Alliance aren't really effective at getting anything done, so as a group of insert class here, we're going to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Because why not?
Well, I would hope that someday I'm holding out hope that this will be something Blizzard does, even though they said they would never do it, is to allow us someday to change our faction as the characters that we are, that allows your character to actually select their faction or to defect their faction. And that could be amazingly cool with a lore twist in it, where, you know, a night elf like me can be part of the Horde because my friends are there.
Yeah.
Yeah, when World of Warcraft first came out, the faction system was like this crazy, interesting, and cool idea. It wasn't the first game to introduce the concept of factions in an MMO, but it really hinged a lot on it, and a lot of my early decisions were heavily based on it. Mm-hmm. But as time has moved on, and every game has adopted the faction system, the more it goes, the more I'm like, you know, I don't know if this arbitrary wall really needs to be here. You know, can't we PvP regardless of which faction we're on? Like,
yeah, didn't they actually talk about making PvP just red side versus blue side? You know, think like Heroes of the Storm. John, are you familiar with that game?
I've heard of Heroes of the Storm, yes.
Jules, have you heard of that?
I believe I might have.
Okay. See, no matter what side you're on, no matter who you're with, you're always the blue side. So you go fight people on the red side. It works. I mean, we already have Pandaren who are, you know, both factions. So you see a Pandaren, you don't know if they're an enemy unless, oh, their name's red. Simple as that, you know?
Yep.
The fact that WoW already has a faction system, or not faction, a reputation system, like, in place, I don't see why, you know, sometime in the future you can, you know, be neutral or, you know, swing one way or the other or something. It would totally work out in this world and make it even more realistic and more like living and breathing. I mean, I would love to one day be able to take my blood elf and walk down the streets of Stormwind.
Yeah.
Maybe not Maine, because she's totally Horde, but a different one.
Right.
Great.
Yeah. And obviously, we're not trying to get into all of the logistics of what this would entail. We've talked about this a couple of times. We've talked about why it's unlikely and what some of the hurdles were. Right now, I think we're talking more at a baseline level of just like, hey, that would be super cool if that could be figured out and done.
Yeah.
Because I would totally do that. I mean, the biggest hurdle for me joining the Alliance, honestly, is that I don't much care for the races. There's not a lot of them that I like on that side. They just don't interest me. Although, I will say that when Ben talked about a Romeo and Juliet for Alliance and Horde, I thought, man, what if it was a gnome and a goblin? And they produced a new race for the game called Noblins. And they're like super tiny green people that have a penchant for blowing things up.
Noblins.
It'd be pretty
Way
great.
better than Gomes.
Gomes. Yeah, nobody likes a gome.
Gome.
No.
It's like a bad lawn ornament.
Get out of here, gome.
It's one that's the discounted one with like the broken pointy hat and like its nose is missing. It's a Gome.
Yeah, it's gross.
You don't want him. I don't know. It just, you know, that's one of the things. It's a 2-faction system. It probably always will be. That's, it's the way they designed the game to start with. It's, over 10 years old. Times have changed. Maybe be more, flexible with this stuff. I mean, for the longest time, we didn't have cross-realm stuff. For the longest time, we didn't have, the character, like faction changing and things like that. Maybe at some point we can actually faction change our characters, but still keep them the same.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be cool.
It would be.
If we did that, I would say that I think that you need to be at least leveled, like, say, 40. So then you can at least lore-wise it and be all like, I just don't like my faction. I've been with them this long time.
I've had a crisis of conscience, and I had a born-again horde moment.
Yeah, totally.
Turns out that Garrosh guy is a bit of a dick.
Oh, I would have changed in a heartbeat if I could have in Pandaria.
I know. There would have been no horde in Pandaria.
Yeah, and see, how much better would that story have been if we all swapped over to the Alliance side and totally took over Orgrimmar?
That'd be kind of like a standoff, like a Mexican standoff moment, where everybody's just like, we're standing with the Alliance right now because we hate you.
I don't understand.
You're not well liked.
Totally miscongeniality contest right here.
We should have pageants in the game.
But there's a good chance we might one day get to that. It might be a long, long ways away, but there might come a day where they say, look, if we want queue times and PvP to still be a viable thing, we need to just take from our entire pool of players as opposed to split it across factions. Obviously, I'm talking about a time in the future where WoW doesn't have the numbers it currently does, because that's certainly not a problem right now. But there's no reason they can't start looking into it now, because that could be a cool feature that people like while the numbers still exist.
Mm-hmm.
So, people, the only way we're going to do this is if you just cancel your sub. Then the rest of us who are still here...
Misinterpreting.
Wait, no. Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay. I didn't understand. I just wanted to...
Putting words in my mouth.
Well, I mean, if you look at it this way, DPS already has a really long queue.
That's true.
But if there's like a tank and a healer over on the Alliance side, and then all of a sudden they jump in, and then 3 giant Tauren are just kind of standing over them.
Or it could just be double the DPS waiting queue. Now both factions have created a super DPS pool of characters waiting.
Oh, that might not have worked, might it? Well, crap. I don't know, maybe it pulls faction perks. I don't know. Whatever, we're not arguing logistics because we don't know how those things work, and obviously we can make anything work with our imagination.
Imagination.
It's imagination.
So there was one bit of WoW news that at first really hit me hard, and I had a strong emotional reaction to it. And then the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, it's going to be what it's going to be. I still don't like it, but I'm not going to go out and take it up among the public forums or anything like that. But I am curious to hear what you guys think. So Blizzard recently decided to kind of change what their intentions were with regards to talents and respecking in Legion. Hold on now. So if you remember, initially they said with the new talent system, they wanted people to be able to freely change their talents quickly and easily. So, hey, I took, let's say, grappling hook and realized that grappling hook is the worst talent in the entire world. And then I said, oh, okay, turns out this talent is awful. I'm going to just switch this over to something else. Poof, you're done. You don't need any tomes. You don't need anything special. It doesn't cost anything. You just do it. However, if you wanted to respec, or switch specs, there was going to be a gold cost. And people got upset about the gold cost, and they were kind of mad about it. Well, Blizzard has kind of flip-flopped now. Now there will be no gold cost to respec at all. However, if you want to change your talents, you must either be in an inn or someplace that gives you rested XP, or you need an item that will be made by inscriptionists, and you need to be around that.
Well, I mean, changing your talents on the fly is important for a lot of raiders, especially high-level raiders. So they have to give you something to allow you to do that. Otherwise, it's gonna people would outrage, because I was rating at the time. I've rated on the highest level, which was heroic before Mythic came out, and a lot of fights would require certain talents to be held by, like, the tanks, for instance. They'd need a certain stun or a certain cleanse or something like that to be able to get out of whatever boss issue was happening on those high level fights. So I get it. I mean, I think it's an interesting way, but you've got to think about the raiders in that respect and make sure they can change on the fly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't have an issue with it, because before switching talents, you needed that tome anyway.
No, this is different from that tome, Ben.
I know. This is one that you get from scribes.
No, this is an item that scribes have to make and drop with a pretty high cost. So it's not like you can walk around with it by yourself as, like, just I've just got one. This is no, I need somebody to actually put this down.
So it's like a Jeeves.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Jeeves.
Is it a, like, one-time use thing?
That I'm not sure on.
Okay. So, okay. That being said, that's forcing someone in your raid to be a scribe. That's not fun. That's not fair. Don't like that. Mm-hmm. If it was the tome thing that the scribes make, like, the fact that you were able to buy those, like, from a vendor totally made the ones from the scribe. Who cares? If they were to do it that way, so that was the only source, then scribes would actually be getting money for their stuff, as opposed to the glyph system, which it's not profitable for anybody unless you're making cards, pretty much.
Yeah, look at what Sage Time in the chat room is saying about what this thing is.
200 parchment, 10 fancy, and 100 normal. Yeah.
It does sound like it's something that you can buy, so you don't necessarily need to have a scribe with you. But now it's now kind of considered a thing that, yet another thing you have to bring to raid.
It's a raid mat.
Granted, the way it is now, you still kind of have to do that. You have to buy those tomes, but it's as easy as going up to a vendor and right-clicking a bunch to get the tomes. It's not, I have to go to the...
hop on your Traveler's Mammoth. Boom.
It's not go to the auction house and potentially deal with price gouging to get the item, so that you can have the convenience, or have to hearth to an inn or someplace where you get rested XP, change your talents, come back, get ported back, and then say, oh, it turns out I still didn't like it. Hold on, guys, I'll be back again.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I think it goes counter to what they themselves, they being Blizzard, said that was one of their design goals. And I feel like they went back on it just to give scribes something. And look, I'm a scribe, so everybody who right now is getting mad at me for saying that, I feel your pain. They're doing a lot of stuff that kind of hurts the profession, but I'd rather them hurt the profession than hurt the game. And I feel like this is a poor choice for the game. It's not the end of the world. It's not a super big deal, but I think it's a bad choice.
Yeah, and I mean, I honestly think they're going to change it as well. Sage Time mentioned that. Probably end up changing it, because it doesn't. Yeah, it's not streamlining like they want. Simple as that. I mean, even in the alpha, I was fine with, hey, I changed talents. It costs 10 gold. Whatever. You know how much gold I have right now because I've been playing? A ton. And even then, 10 gold, that's not bad. That's like maybe a quest.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Stopping you from actually being able to play the game is one of the things that MMOs have been fighting against for a long time, because it's essentially, as long as you're playing, you're paying, you're happy. So if they're making it frustrating and stopping that from happening, it's more of a gamble of people are going to be unhappy. They're going to, oh, okay, well, I had to go back to my inn for this. Guess what? I just don't want to do this dungeon anymore. I'm going to log out. As long as they make it as inconvenient as it is, it could potentially be a problem.
Yeah, and I think the chat room is kind of calling it perfectly. Like, it's obnoxious. It's not the end of the world. It's not game breaking. It's not something that, I think is going to be as divisive as like flying was or anything like that. But it is just kind of an obnoxious thing, and it's like, well, why did you guys do it? Yeah. So I don't know. It bums me out to hear decisions like that. We'll see where it goes. Look, there's a reason we're in beta. They can certainly swing back around, but
they've done it many times.
Yeah. So we'll see if this is the kind of thing that outrages you and you're not like me and you actually want to go say something. I would send them feedback about it. It's very easy to do in the beta. If you're not in the beta, hit up the forums and let them know. If you're just not really caring that much about it, then hey, we'll just see what happens. So
yeah.
But I was curious to get your guys' idea, because sometimes I hear news and I'm like, man, that sucks. And then I'm like, well, am I the only person who thinks that, or do other people feel that way too?
Gotcha. Hey, John?
Yes, Ben.
What was it that you were telling me about near the beginning of the show?
I was telling you to call our guests by their correct name.
That's right. I appreciate that a whole lot. I'm done.
And with that, everybody, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Azeroth Roundtable. The thing Ben wanted me to mention was, of course, the Azeroth Roundtable t-shirt, which is available at slashloot.com, but you can also pick up an Azeroth Roundtable keychain or necklace from geekasylum.etsy.com. So do that, support us, and get some cool stuff along with it.
And by the way, I would head to slashloot.com sooner rather than later.
Yeah, that's a good point. If you want our shirt, you should probably buy it soon. That's not us trying to pad the numbers or anything.
Yeah, we're not entirely sure what the future is going to hold.
For the shirt.
For the shirt.
Yes.
Not entirely sure yet. So do that. Recommend it. Jules,
Ben.
where can people find you?
I can be found on Twitter at JulesRPG. And you can find my shows at torrentThinkTank.com and Mondays.show. I do Torrent Think Tank with the lovely Mark Honan, and Mondays, Case of the Mondays with the awesome Pat Crane.
Very cool. Which we will have on very soon. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it tonight as well.
Yes.
You're going to have a 4-person roundtable.
Sometime we'll do it. I'd love to do that because that would be a really cool conversation to have.
Absolutely.
Very much so. John, where can people find you?
If people want more from me, the best place to do it is to check out the Heroes of the Storm podcast I do. That is called Core. It is part of the Frog Pants Network. You can find out more information about that at heroesforyou.com. You can also check me out on the Experience Point show. That is every Tuesday from 6 to 9 Pacific Standard Time. I do hear other things happen at that time, but you should check out Experience Points. And, yeah, that's where you can find me. I think those are good places. Oh, yeah, one more thing. Also, every weekday morning, ideally, I do a little live stream called The Morning Meltdown, where I play some Heroes of the Storm Hero League. Didn't quite have a everyday this week, because a lot of crazy stuff happened, but you can check that out at twitch.tv/Revendon, or you can catch the VODs of that at the Core YouTube page, youtube.com/Core Heroes. That's it. That's everything.
If you're looking for more from me, which I don't know why you would at this point, follow me on Twitter. I am at Ben the Mage. I also do Battle Pets with Eludra, and also Geektopia with Lita and Alakaz. I have been playing through Mass Effect. If you want to watch those, head over to YouTube, and I don't have a really cool address yet because I don't have enough people subscribed. So just do a search for Ben Bumhofer. Hey, John, I just finished Vermeer.
How'd that go? Who died?
Let's just say I wasn't happy with the first half, and I was pretty happy with the second half.
No, who died?
I'm not going to talk about it
You
here.
killed Caden, didn't you?
I'm not going to talk about it here.
Oh.
People
you killed
are watching the
You
show.
were supposed to kill Ashley.
Twitter.
No, I saw that vote. That vote was bunk. That vote could have
No.
been interpreted any way.
No, it couldn't have. It's which one do I choose?
Yeah. Which one do I choose to save? Which one do I choose to die?
No,
Die.
Okay, Jules, you've played.
Yes.
When it comes up and says, who do you choose? Choose Ashley, choose Caden. And when the poll says, which one do I choose? Don't you think that's a correlation of if I say choose Ashley, that means I choose the choose Ashley one?
I
Yeah.
declare shenanigans across the board on this.
You always choose Ashley.
He was supposed. You all failed the internet. Like, look, I forgot to vote in it, so I'm just as bad.
Hey,
I'm
that's
just-
your fault.
I'm just as guilty, although I still think Ben got up to some
It ended up being
shenanigans
really
with this.
close. If it was Caden, I would have chosen Caden.
But look, we all know that he should have saved Caden because that's who he was in a relationship with.
Because of you.
Because of me.
That's the only reason why you're mad. I know that. So now instead of a sex scene, you get to see me be all really sad for a little bit.
Dang it, guys, we could have seen Ben have sex with Caden Malenko.
That's a weird thing to say.
Yep.
But anyways, if you want to see what we're talking about, head over to my YouTube page because I really like the game. I don't think I'm all that entertaining, but the game itself is. So definitely check it out. As for this show, though, we are on Twitter at AzrothRT. You can always find every episode we've done on AzrothRoundtable.com, on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, and of course, send us email. We've been getting them. We just haven't had a chance to really, dig into some of those questions or topics and everything. But send those to AzrothRoundtable@gmail.com. And of course, our intro contains music from Volatile Reaction. Volatile Reaction, right?
Sure.
I'm screwing up right now. Yeah, Volatile Reaction by Kevin MacLeod, and you can find more of his music at incopytech.com. I can't remember anything anymore.
It's got music from all over the place.
I'm forgetting where music's from.
Yep.
I don't know what's going on.
You're breaking, Ben.
I am.
'Cause
I'm
it's
getting
late.
old. That's what it is.
You
'Cause it's
forgot
late. Well,
that
it's late for
Caden
me.
was supposed to live.
Yeah, it's great. Someone who's in our chat room right now said, "Oh my God, John's gonna be so mad when the first half happened and someone died." I said, "No, John chose that."
I did choose that. I chose that because I knew it would bother Ben. See, here's the thing you have to understand about my choices for this game. Everything I want Ben to do in this game are things that I know is going to bother Ben. Like, they're not choices I personally agree with, although I would still kill Ashley, because screw her.
She's a dirty, dirty spacist.
Yeah. Also, Ben, you should have an extra proclivity to killing Ashley, so I don't know why you didn't just do that by default anyway. But that being said,
The first time I ever played the game, that is what happened.
when I'm voting for Ben to have to make hard choices. And I will vote with multiple Twitter accounts. I have no shame.
Jules, if you want me to actually romance Garrus in the next 2 games, you need to make sure when I put the poll up there.
Okay, poke me and make sure that I vote in it because I forget.
I've never.
You know what I use TweetDeck and TweetDeck doesn't show polls.
Oh.
So I have to open it up in my phone.
Okay.
So I never see when someone's posting a poll. It just kind of looks like something's blank under there. I don't know why TweetDeck doesn't support polls.
Well, let's put it this way. In 2 and 3, Runt is going to be my new best friend. Shepard's going to have massive bouts of guilt.
Yeah, should.
Yeah. Man, I love that game so much, though. Playing it is like, oh, it's so good.
Oh, so good.
I ended up doing the moon mission and died, like, I swear, 20 times trying to get that stupid thing done.
Moon mission's tough.
Thank you for saying that, because I felt horrible.
Yes, it's awful.
Yeah, I ended up like totally cheesing it though. I got to the hallway before, where the drones are and everything. I'd shoot some of them, then close the door, and then let my health regen, and then open up, shoot some more, and then close the door again. Garrus died a bunch there.
I really should go back to Mass Effect 3. I think it's the only Mass Effect game that I haven't gotten 100% of the achievements in.
Probably.
Um,
Because you weren't as happy with it.
yeah, it wasn't as replayable for me, but it certainly ended up that way. I like, but it also had a lot of multiplayer achievements as well. But they had, so it was, you could do something really monotonous and crappy in the single player game, or you could do something that was okay in the multiplayer game. So I actually kind of liked the multiplayer, so I was working on that for a while. Now I would probably have to do single player.
I don't know. You think people are playing it?
Maybe. It was a unique multiplayer experience, so
Yeah, it was. I loved that multiplayer experience.
it was good. I really, really liked it. So I don't know, but yeah, what was funny though, so beating the game on whatever the name of the absolute highest difficulty is was always an achievement. But what was funny is that in Mass Effect 1, it was easier to do with a New Game Plus character. And with Mass Effect 2, it was easier to do with a brand new, fresh character. So I had to, when we talk about how difficult things were in Mass Effect 1, it's weird for me to think about because I'm so used to playing that New Game Plus character, and even on the highest difficulty for the game, it's kind of easy. But Mass Effect 2, oh my gosh, New Game Plus on the highest difficulty is next to impossible to get through. It's super, super hard.
Really?
Yeah. It's really strange. It's really strange the way it worked out. But it's one of the few games that I've beaten on the highest of difficulties. I liked it so much, so.
Oh, it is late and I'm getting sleepy.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you very much for joining us. You are awesome as always. I love you, Jules.
Thank you. I love you too. Thank you for having me.
We're very happy
love
to
doing
have
this.
you.
I'll probably text bomb you again soon.
I love the text bombs. Definitely. Those are the best.
And now I gotta go.
I get like stealth hugs. That's like the best things.
Gotta go take care of the dogs. They're weirdly pacing. I don't know what they want from me, but
Ooh,
they
they
up,
might need to go out.
Give us toilet paper,
they're up
Tom.
to something. Well, one of them's wearing a diaper because he can't be trusted.
That works. Bye, Alpha Geek. I'm hanging up on you, so bye.
Goodbye.
Well, Alpha Geek's gone now.
All right,
But,
I might
that was
stop the
fun.
stream. Bye, everybody.
Bye, stream.
Bye,
Bye,
stream.
stream.
Love you guys.